Hello, I've been out most of the day into Southend, lunch with Faye. Exhausted. Um, Threw up the second I got up the stairs because that's what I normally do when I'm worn out. Been coughing all day, so I kind of knew I was going to throw up by the end of the day when I relaxed. Sat in the park with some cupcakes because it was Nicola Browett's funeral today. He passed the CF last week, and she was having a cupcake party afterward. Yeah, I'm home now, rest for a few hours before making risotto later on, and then collapse in the heat by midnight, I imagine. Yeah, that's my day.
2 years ago, I had a kidney transplant, which gave me my life back. When I heard about a guy the same age as me who was considering turning down a double lung transplant, I couldn't understand it. Over 6 months I filmed Pete whilst he made the biggest decision of his life.
My name's Pete, I'm 25 and I've got a few hobbies. I like photography, my passion's cooking and taking photos of the food itself. I'm a fairly avid gamer and I've got cystic fibrosis, diabetes, and I'm deaf as well. And that's me.
Through the forest down to your grave, where the birds wait and the tall grasses wave.
CF is just basically a whole list of problems that basically just makes it incredibly difficult to breathe. It messes your digestive system up. It just makes things a lot harder than they should be. This is the BiPAP machine. It's normally used for people overnight to help with their breathing while they're asleep, but in my case it's physio. It forces air into my lungs, which expands them, makes them stronger, and then I breathe out against that pressure and it strengthens the muscles a little bit more. And you pretty much just switch it on and breathe. And then take a rest, otherwise you'll wear yourself out.
Does it hurt?
No, it's actually quite comfortable because I can feel my lungs expanding. It's a really nice feeling in a way. I don't get that feeling when I'm breathing normally, so to feel your lungs doing that, it's quite nice. Plus it doubles as a really handy vacuum cleaner from getting dust out from behind the keyboard. I'm not the only one that uses it for that. 24th of June 2010. So, here's my to-do list so far. 1. Do more organ donor awareness. Number 2. Look into new hearing aids. My ones are getting on a little bit. Number 3. Find myself someone to enjoy my time with. Number 4. Get a cleaner. And the last one, decide about transplant. At the moment I'm sort of on the fence, 50-50, which compared to a few months ago I was sort of off the fence saying no. I'll look into it, which is why I should have an appointment with Harefield with a transplant consultant eventually. I find myself sitting there thinking, well, what if I got a transplant and, what would I do with my life then, sort of thing. And then I think, well, this is all sort of hypothetical, because it's, I might not get a transplant, I might, even if I do go on my list, I might not get it anyway. Yeah. I've spent my day at the air show today in Southend-on-Sea. Lots of stalls, lots of noise. Obviously, because of my hearing, it just all blends into one. It means I can hear nothing at all. So I took my hearing aid out. It was pointless having it in, to be honest. It just amplifies the noise. It's nothing you can hear properly. My hearing is, at the moment, I've probably lost about 85%. When I first got my hearing aid that I'm wearing now, me and Faye went down to a lake and there were like tons of ducks there and they were quacking, and I actually heard them for the first time because of the hearing aid in what is probably about 8 years, and it was a noise I didn't recognise. I think deaf people are treated as, I don't know, slow. You know, someone could talk about quantum physics, and, or if I knew about that, I'd understand what they were saying. But I just wasn't about to hear what they were saying. I was on IV antibiotics for a normal chest infection when I was in paediatrics, and the antibiotic I was on was incredibly effective for my chest. A lot of CFs are on it. Basically, they got the dosage wrong, and the levels of the toxins that are in that antibiotic can kill the nerves in your ear, and they managed to do that. Basically, they overdosed. To me, the hearing is more of a hindrance and more of an annoyance than the CF. The CF I can deal with. So, you know, do I want to be a completely deaf adult, basically? Or do I want to sort of, you know, not last that long, sort of just last until my, you know, mid-30s, 40s maybe, and still have some of my hearing and go out like that, sort of thing. It's a weird way of putting it, but it's how my mind works, so. I've known, I met Faye about 7.5 years ago or something like that. We went out for 3.5 years, something like that. Lived together for a bit at Colchester Uni. She's my best mate, but she's my carer as well, when she needs to be. I try not to make her my carer all the time, but sometimes it's just not possible to do that. I'd rather she wasn't my carer, I'd rather she was just my best friend, but it's nearly impossible to sort of separate the two. Because even if I'm not asking for her help, she's doing it anyway, so... it causes a fair amount of arguments, but, you know, it all settles down, because, you know, mates argue, so... I generally don't sleep until about, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, because, for some reason, there's tons of other CFs online at the same time, awake at the same time. It seems to be a CF thing. Every CF seems to be awake until the early hours of the morning for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I normally spend probably from about 10 o'clock at night until about 2 o'clock in the morning chatting to various CFs, normally the same ones as well. Yeah, I just get my treatment done at sort of ridiculous times in the morning while I'm chatting to them. And then we normally bug each other and tell each other to do the same thing, really. I think I have gone for 2 days straight without any sleep whatsoever, maybe an hour here or there. You start going a bit mental after the second day. I think I'm just a night person, but I mean, to me it's not that much different because of the hearing. It's quiet all the time anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Pete's dad was a very important part of his life up until he was 18 years old. He began to tell me what happened to his dad and how it affected him.
He was diagnosed with lung cancer when I was about 17, I think. He passed away about two weeks after my 18th birthday, I think. But he was okay for my 18th birthday, actually. He was able to see it through, sort of thing, and he was able to have my first drink with me, so you know, it's something. Yeah, I was the last one to see him alive, I think, because I'm always up late, so I was, you know, like sitting next to his bed basically, the night before, and yeah, Mum just woke me up the next morning and said you need to come downstairs, sort of thing, and I don't think I was in denial. I just sort of because I've had CF friends and family passed away before, and it's sort of cold-hearted, but it's sort of a normal thing for someone to die. I sort of, you know, went downstairs and saw him. I think I went back upstairs and just sat there for a while, and then spent the rest of the day sitting in my garden, you know, watching the fish in the pond, sort of thing, reading the paper, while everyone else was going out around me. Dad was being taken out, family were there, and they were doing all the normal thing of, you know, are you okay, blah blah blah. I always joke about Faye, you know, with Faye, and say he's on the moon, which is fine, because every time there's a full moon, I've got him there, that's not a problem. It's a joke between us, but it works. Just a nice way to remember people, really. people we've lost in the past, donors of people that have recently had transplants, and you know, a lot of people around the country do the same sort of thing, and we try and coordinate them at the same time.
Pete has been given an appointment to meet the transplant consultant at Harefield Hospital. He's travelling up there with his mum and me in tow.
I'm going to have my transplant assessment appointment tomorrow, just have a chat and weigh up my options and give me a bit of information, really. To be honest, I've got a clue what I'm expecting tomorrow. I have been nervous about it, but now nearly here, I'm not, to be honest. It's a bit of a comfort knowing that I've got friends that have come here and do still come here and rate the team so highly.
For assessments, because I just want to check for absolutely everything.
Make sure get them all done in one, get them out of the way.
Yeah, innit? When you've got it there, do you know what I mean?
Got more blood, not a problem.
Yeah, apparently your body regenerates your blood well quick anyway.
No nose clip, thanks. Never use nose clip. Makes my ears like pop properly.
I know, but we always use nose clips, I'm afraid. Sorry.
It'll probably make the lung function worse, it really will.
Every patient that comes through has to use a nose clip.
I'll compare it,
okay?
See what it says.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it's what we do. Alright. Okay, so normal breathing to start. Normal breathing, nice and relaxed. Big breath in, out fast, all the way out. Keep blowing to empty, keep pushing, keep blowing, keep blowing, keep blowing, keep blowing, keep pushing. When you're desperate, good. Well done. Okay, FE1 1.15, FEC 1.94. So normal breathing. Normal breathing. Good. Well done.
The Harefield appointment went well. The main consultant came in and explained the pros and cons of having a transplant. He said things like, yeah, you'll be able to breathe better, but on the downside there's a lot more medication to take and you have to be pretty compliant with it. So he basically said that we'd have to use the drug which caused my hearing loss. It sort of adds to the whole concern of, you know, extending my life but losing the hearing along the way. And if they're going to add even more risk on top of that of losing my hearing, then obviously it's going to make my decision a lot harder to do, basically, knowing that they could damage it further. Shattered now, to be honest. It's Faye's birthday today and she's got a barbecue at her house. Unfortunately I can't make it because I'm just exhausted. Quite upset about that, to be honest. And yeah, feeling really ill today, to be honest. Got got quite upset with Faye earlier because everything just felt like it was getting on top of me. But, you know, a couple of nabs, some rest, some food, I'll be alright. I haven't really got a choice, have I?
I recognised a lot of Pete's feelings towards his illness and myself. When having treatment, I felt as though I wasn't in control of my life or body anymore. I wanted to know how Pete was coping.
I can't honestly remember the first time I did it or anything. I think I was about 16, maybe 17. In relation to nothing, literally. I used to, cut my wrist basically, but not to the point of, you know, wanting to kill myself. It's completely separate from that. When there's so much you can't control about yourself, then, you know, having something you can control about yourself is there. It's unfortunate what it is, but that's just, you know, the one that I say I picked, but it picked me, so yeah. I've been deaf for like about 12, 13 years, and instead of adapting, it's just sort of just got worse, really. I've been to shops, you know, coffee places and stuff, with Faye before, and got to a point where I got so nervous that I don't want to order anything. And sometimes she tries to make me order it, sort of try and push me to do it, which is, you know, fair enough. I ask to do it sometimes, but not all the time. But I mean, sometimes I get so nervous I'll say stuff it and walk out again. So yeah, it's certainly not something I'm adapting to. It's sort of going the opposite way, really. 15th of September 2010. I was going to do a big heartfelt blog about this, but stuff it. My decision? I'm not having a transplant. There you go, done.
I found out about Pete's decision online. I wasn't surprised as I finally understood why he'd made that decision. Part of me felt sad that he felt that way, but I completely respected his wishes.
Not comfortable with it in myself, and I have to only do it for me. I'm, you know, happy and accepting that I'm going to have a shorter life, and I, you know that the possibility of making it longer is there, but just because it's there, I don't have to take it. I see death as just another part of life, so as far as I'm concerned, it happens. And, you know, although it's, you know, a terrible thing, it still happens. I believe there's something, but what? I don't know. I'm not religious. I don't believe in, you know, one God, that's it. I don't believe that there's nothing either. You know, something could happen, and that's as much as I'd want to believe, to be honest. I'm not really, you know, until it happens, no point thinking about it, to be honest. I always knew I was going to have a shorter lifespan from as early as I can remember, to be honest. I haven't got any, you know, major plans, anything specific in the future. Obviously, I don't see a career for myself. That's just not going to happen. Without transplant, at least, so that's not going to happen. I'd like to be more involved in charity work, organ donation, awareness, volunteer work, just some little bits here and there that I can still do. And then, you know, obviously all the normal things like having a partner and just having a bit more of a life, really. That's it.